Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Gopi Jana Bala Giri Gopi Jana Bala Giri Yashodhanandana Prachachana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Prachachana Ramana Tira Yamuna Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Gopikana Vallabha Giridharadhari Gopikana Vallabha Yashodhanandana Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. Today, text number 29 is under discussion. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti na priya ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya Mai te teshu chapyaham Samoham sarva bhuteshu Name dveshosti na priya Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya Mai te teshu chapyaham Samoham sarva bhuteshu Name dveshosti na priya Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya Mai te teshu chapyaham
Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham Samoham sarva bhuteshu Name dveshosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham
Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham Samoham sarva bhuteshu
name dveshosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya मयि देवेषु चाप्यहम् समोऽहं सर्वभूतेषु न मे द्वेषोऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तु मां भक्त्या मयि देवेषु चाप्यहम्.
Anybody else like to chant?
समोऽहं सर्वभूतेषु न मे द्वेषोऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तु मां भक्त्या मयि देवेषु चाप्यहम्.
Okay. Sama, equally disposed. Aham, I. Sarva Bhuteshu, to all living entities. Na, no one. Me, to me. Dvesha, hateful. Asti, is. Na, nor. Priya, dear. Ye, those who. Bhajanti, render transcendental service. To, but. Mam, unto me. Bhaktya, in devotion. Mai, are in me. Te, such persons. Teshu, in them. Cha, also. Api, certainly. Aham, I. Translation. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. You can all please repeat. I envy no one.
I envy no one.
Nor am I partial to anyone.
Nor am I partial to anyone.
I am equal to all.
I am equal to all.
But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. One may question here that if Krishna is equal to everyone and no one is his special friend, then why does he take a special interest in the devotees who are always engaged in his transcendental service? But this is not discrimination. It is natural. Any man in the material world may be very charitably disposed, yet he has a special interest in his own children. The Lord claims that every living entity, in whatever form, is his son. And so he provides everyone with a generous supply of the necessities of life. He is just like a cloud which turns rain. He's just like a cloud which pours rain all over regardless of whether it falls on rock or land or water. But for his devotees, he provides specific attention. Such devotees are mentioned here. They are always in Krishna consciousness, and therefore they are always transcendentally situated in Krishna. The very phrase Krishna consciousness suggests that those who are in such consciousness are living transcendentalists situated in him. The Lord says here distinctly, Maite, they are in me. Naturally, as a result, the Lord is also in them. This is reciprocal. This also explains the words, Ye yata mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. Whoever surrenders unto me, proportionately I take care of him. This transcendental reciprocation exists because both the Lord and the devotee are conscious. When a diamond is set in a golden ring, it looks very nice. The gold is glorified, and at the same time, the diamond is glorified. The Lord and the living entity eternally glitter. And when a living entity becomes inclined to the service of the Supreme Lord, he looks like gold. The Lord is a diamond, and so this combination is very nice. Living entities in a pure state are called devotees. The Supreme Lord becomes the devotee of his devotees. If a reciprocal relationship is not present because the devotee and the Lord, if the reciprocal relationship is not present between the devotee and the Lord, then there is no personalist philosophy. In the impersonal philosophy, there is no reciprocation between the Supreme and the living entity. But in the personalist philosophy, there is. The example is often given that the Lord is like a desired tree, and whatever one wants from this desired tree, the Lord supplies. But here, the explanation is more complete. The Lord is here stated to be partial to the devotees. This is the manifestation of the Lord's special mercy to the devotees. The Lord's reciprocation should not be considered to be under the law of karma. It belongs to the transcendental situation in which the Lord and the devotees function. Devotional service to the Lord is not an activity of this material world. It is part of the spiritual world, where eternity, bliss, and knowledge predominate. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Satadine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. So, 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the very heart of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is describing the most confidential knowledge. So there's knowledge, there's more confidential knowledge, and the most confidential knowledge. Knowledge is simply that's already been given in the 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Knowledge to understand the difference between matter and spirit, or between the body and the soul. It's very basic, but it's very, very important. People often never even think about the soul. They simply think only of the body. Just like here in Singapore, on the weekend, what are most people doing today? They're not thinking about the soul. They're all going to the mall, and they're going to restaurants, and they're engaging in all kinds of material activities for the satisfaction of the senses. Sense satisfaction has to be there. We also want sense satisfaction. Everyone needs some sense gratification. Srila Prabhupada gives the example about salt. That when you cook, if there's no salt, then there's no taste. And if there's too much salt, then taste is not right also. So similarly with sense gratification, we don't say no sense gratification, but it must be the proper amount of sense gratification. It should be prescribed according to Vedic direction. Just like we don't tell people not to eat, we say eat, but eat Krishna Prasadam. And of course, Krishna Prasadam means no meat, fish, and eggs, these things. So basic principles are there. And if we follow these basic principles, we can have sense gratification. We enjoy ourselves. Devotees lead a happy life. That is going to be described in the next chapter, the King of Knowledge, where Lord Krishna will speak about Rajavijja Rajaguyam, Pavitram Idam Idamam, Pratyat Swavagavam Dharmyam, Susukam Kartamavya. Lord Krishna will describe this knowledge as the king of all knowledge. It's the most confidential knowledge, and it gives everlasting perception of the self by realization. And one can experience the transcendental pleasure of the soul. The nature of the soul is to be joyful, right? The spiritual world is not a monotonous place. It is not dreary. It is full of bliss and knowledge eternally. And our spiritual nature is also eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. But when we focus on the material, then some pleasure is there, but it will be very flickering, very temporary pleasure. The pleasure of the body on the material platform, it is very temporary, flickering. Sometimes we will sing that song that Bhaja Hari Mana, Srila Prabhupada sings, talks about Chapala Sukha Labha Lagire, right? That you have to work and you have to often serve wicked and miserly people for what? Simply for some flickering pleasure, some Chapala Sukha. So you do not get the ananda, you do not get the real pleasure. You simply get chapala sukha, flickering pleasure, very temporary pleasure. That is the nature of material pleasure. So Lord Krishna is explaining here in this 9th chapter the highest knowledge, the confidential knowledge. So there is knowledge, there is more confidential knowledge, and the most confidential knowledge. 7th chapter, 8th chapter is giving some more confidential knowledge, explaining the nature of the spiritual energy and the different potencies of the Lord. But now in this 9th chapter, the Lord is giving the most confidential knowledge. He's explaining about the relationship between the Lord and his devotees. There's a very special reciprocation between Krishna and Krishna's devotees. And Srila Prabhupada talks about this in the purport. He's explaining to us about this reciprocation which exists there. How the devotee wants to surrender himself to Lord Krishna. And the more the devotee gives himself up to Krishna, the more Krishna reciprocates and takes care, takes an interest in that devotee and helps that devotee to come to him. So Prabhupada explains that this kind of reciprocation is not there in the impersonalist philosophy. In the impersonalist philosophy, everything is one, and everyone is one. There's no variety. There are no relationships, because everyone is simply thinking of the oneness. So there's no question of any relationship or reciprocation, because everyone is God. If everyone is God, then you don't have any relationship with God. So you don't have anyone to protect you. So Lord Krishna is explaining in this verse, Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. He says, I envy no one. I am equal to all. Of course, it seems difficult for the non-devotee to understand How is it possible that the Lord is equal to everyone? Because we know that sometimes the Lord will come and he will take the side of the devotees, or especially the demigods. The demigods are also devotees. They're not fully pure devotees, they're mixed devotees. But the demigods have done a lot of piety, and they've been rewarded for their piety by being given positions to help in overseeing the administration of the universe. This is the position of the demigods, you see. They reside in Swargaloka, in the heavenly planets, and they enjoy a long life. They have a lot of knowledge, they have powers, they can see the future, they remember things from the past. They're gifted people. So the demigods often get the help from Lord Krishna whenever they're oppressed by the demons. The demigods reside in Swargaloka, which is heaven, is up from the earthly planets. And the demons, those who are opposed to the position of the Lord, the asuras, they reside in the lower regions of the universe. They reside below the earthly planets. So in those lower regions, like Patala Loka, there is no sunlight. It's very dark, right? Just like yesterday, it was quite dark here in Singapore. You know, there was no sunlight. When there's no sun, then certainly you feel the difference. It's not so pleasant. If you go to the UK, you can see that almost every day. Srila Prabhupada says, when he was asked, what's it like in hell? He said, just like here, the UK. Never see the sun. Every day cloudy, wet, damp. So the demons, they reside in the lower regions of the universe. And it's very dark. It says that they light the place with jewels on their body. So they're living in that dark place. They're always thinking about conquering the heavenly planets. There's always this battle between the demons and the demigods, the asuras and the devas. They're fighting each other. Often we see that churning of the milk ocean. The demigods and the demons, they combine together to get the nectar of immortality. Right? They were churning the milk ocean, and they produced different things. At one point, they produced Airavrata, the elephant, and Uchishrava, the horse. And then they produced also Lakshmi came. She was taken as a consort by Lord Narayan. Different things were churned from the milk ocean. Finally, the nectar of immortality came. Dhanvantari was carrying the nectar of immortality. And the demons naturally wanted to get it. They thought, let's get it, we will take it all for ourselves. And they were fighting, the demigods and the demons, because they had joined together to churn the milk ocean. And when the nectar was produced, then both sides wanted to take it for themselves. And at that time, Mohini Murti, the Lord appeared in the form as Mohini Murti, the most attractive, beautiful woman. She came in the form of a goddess, and she charmed everyone. Everyone saw her, they all became under her spell. This is the power, the magic of the beautiful woman that she can put everyone under her spell. So Mohini Murti came and said, I will distribute the nectar for you. And she took the nectar and she began to give it to the demigods. You could say, well, why didn't she give it to the demons? But we have to understand that the Lord is partial. Although he said, I'm not partial to anyone, I'm equal to everyone. He does have some favor to those who give him service, because the demigods are engaged in some service for the Lord. Therefore, the Lord reciprocates and he provides for them. He's not going to let the demons take the nectar of immortality. Although at one point, Rahu did sit down with all the demigods. And Rahu also, he got a share of the nectar of immortality. And it just entered in his throat. And at that moment, the Lord cut off his head with the Sudarshan chakra. And so because he drank the nectar, the head of Rahu stayed alive and the body died. But the head had already absorbed the nectar, so the head didn't die. So Rahu is still there. Sometimes we get eclipses, and Srila Prabhupada said this is caused by Rahu, that he can cover up the moon or sometimes the sun, and we get eclipses, inauspicious situations. So the Lord certainly does show some partiality. But Srila Prabhupada explains this is natural. Another example which Srila Prabhupada sometimes gives to explain this partiality of the Lord towards his devotees is that just like in a high court, if you go to the court and the judge is there, now one person comes along and he's been injured in the factory, maybe there was an accident and he got injured and he can't work for a long time. So he's come to the court to get compensation. He's suing the company that maybe the company didn't take proper care of the safety of their employees, and he's demanding some compensation from the company. And so the judge may hear the case and he may decide, yes, you deserve to be compensated, and he may reward the man that you should be given $10,000 compensation to make up for all your injury and your time off work and everything. And then the next man comes along and stands in the court, and he's charged with robbery, armed robbery, and the judge listens to the case and everything, said, all right, 5 years in prison. And so the criminal may say, I have to go to prison for 5. You just gave the other man $10,000. Why you put me in jail for 5 years? He may protest to the judge that you're not fair. You're partial to him. But the judge said, no, I have to consider your worth. What are you worth? What have you done? What do you deserve? Do you deserve to be punished, or do you deserve to be rewarded? All right? It's the law of karma. The law of karma is very well known, in all the cultures, ancient cultures of the world. We have a saying in Chinese, actually. We say, 种豆得豆，种瓜得瓜. Right? The meaning is, if you plant beans, you will harvest beans. And if you plant melons, you will harvest melons. Right? In other words, you get the results of your work. If you've done good, you'll be rewarded with good results. And if you've done something very bad, you injured, maybe you've killed somebody or injured someone, you've robbed someone, you've taken more, you get punished for that. It's the law of karma. The seeds which we sow bring results according to our activities. And Lord Krishna considers each and every person's work. How much do they deserve to be punished and how much do they deserve to be rewarded? So it's not partiality, it's just fair. You get what you deserve. We get the results of our own activities. It's all happen. It's not just by chance, but it's the law of nature. And the laws of nature grind very fine. Right? This is the laws of the Supreme Lord. We may escape the law of the state, the law of the government, you may be able to get away from them. But the law of the Supreme Lord, you cannot escape, because He has His agents everywhere. He sees everything. He knows everything we're doing. You can't say, I didn't do anything, I didn't do it. The Lord knows everything about each and every one of us. What have we done in the past? And we get the results. It's not by chance. Right? So Lord Krishna is explaining this principle here, how He has a special affection for His devotees. Someone who's got some devotion, who has devoted themselves to the service of Lord Krishna, then Lord Krishna has a special love for them. Just like Lord Ramachandra said, anyone who utters my name one time, I can never give them up. That because they've called my name, I can never let them go. And Lord Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Kunti apriti janehi name bhakta pranasya. My devotee will never perish. Lord Krishna takes note of what we've done, and we get the results, the seeds, and they're sown. We have to understand the Lord is a person. And just like each and every one of us, we have feelings. Lord Krishna also has feelings. And He feels transcendental pleasure when He sees His devotees endeavoring for His pleasure. The more we're willing to endeavor for the pleasure of Krishna, the more we get the mercy of Krishna. The more the mercy comes, the mercy means the Lord will reveal Himself to the devotees more and more. We have to have that faith in serving the Supreme Lord. So faith comes about by hearing from the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna's own words, how He cares for His devotees. You could say, well, He says I'm equal to everyone. Yeah, He gives everyone a chance, right? He said, I am in the heart of everyone. From me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. That is true for everyone. Everyone's getting a fair chance according to what we deserve. What do we want? The Lord is in the heart. He knows what we're thinking, what we want, and He fulfills our desires. It is not haphazard. It is not just, we could say, oh, it should be the same for everyone. No, it's not the same for everyone, because not everyone is the same. Everyone has different ideas, different things they want, different desires. So we get the results according to our qualification. Qualification is understood by how much we're inclined to do service for the Lord. How much are we willing to put ourselves out to accept some difficulties on the behalf of Lord Krishna. Just like Queen Kunti, we see in the teachings of the prayers of Queen Kunti, they're there in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the first canto, and Queen Kunti, she describes that Vipada Shantuta Shasvat Tatra Tatra Jagatguru. She said, let all of these calamities happen again and again. And now Queen Kunti had suffered unbelievable problems, very great problems she'd gone through. As a mother, she had 3 children. Then Madri, her co-wife, she had 2 children. But the husband, Pandu, he died, and Madri went with Pandu. She also gave up her life to go with Pandu. So Kunti had to bring up 5 children on her own, with no husband there. And then Dhritarashtra and his sons were always planning how to get rid of them, because Dhritarashtra was actually the senior member of the Kuru family. He was first before Pandu, but Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. So Dhritarashtra, because he was blind, he could not be the king. So Pandu became the king. But then Pandu died, and then the throne came back to Dhritarashtra, although he was blind. And Dhritarashtra, naturally, he wanted the kingdom should go to his sons. And he had 100 sons headed by Duryodhana. And he wants, they should be the king. And so they were always planning to kill the Pandavas, get rid of them. And so they were sent to live in a house which was made of shellac. And then they set the house on fire. The whole thing burned. Fortunately, because of some help from Vidura, they had escaped and they did not die in the fire. But it was close. They could have died. And then Bhima was given poisoned food and he could have died, but somehow by some miracle he was saved. And then the battle of Kurukshetra took place and the odds were against the Pandavas, but somehow they came out victorious. So like this, one disaster after another. Of course, they had been sent in exile to the forest for 12 years, and the chastity of their wife Draupadi was also threatened. So many things happened to them, one after another. So Kunti, she could have said, why is this happening to me? What have I done to deserve this? But she doesn't say like that, because she's a devotee. And the devotees understand the plan of the Lord. And the devotee understands that the difficulties which come, they're all the mercy of the Lord to help us to think of Him more, to come closer to Him. So that is the thinking of a devotee, to accept all the difficulties and go on with devotional service. When we have that kind of mood, then Krishna is very happy and He is ready to take you back home, back to Godhead. But if we're always thinking, oh, I just want to be comfortable here, That's not very good. A comfortable life will never last very long in this world. Mamo paicha punerjanma duk alayam ashasvatam. Napnovanti mahatmana samsadim paramangata. Right? That we should understand the nature of this world. That it is temporary and it's full of misery. Of course, they do a good job to make people comfortable here in Singapore. We have to admit, that people are pretty comfortable here, but it's all temporary. If you were to go back 1940s and see life in Singapore was not so comfortable. It changes. Things change. Everything is temporary in this material world. And we're also temporary. We don't belong here in this place. This is not our real home. And Krishna is waiting for us to go back to Him. And in order to encourage us to come back to Him, He sends His pure devotees. He sends the great acharyas who come here to preach to us. And Lord Krishna came Himself and spoke this Bhagavad Gita. And He performed so many different pastimes. And He comes in different incarnations just to attract the attention, to get the devotees, to bring them out of this material entanglement here in this world. So we have to be convinced about our spiritual nature. Yes, we do have a real home, and our real home is not here. Our real home is with Krishna in the kingdom of God. This place is kunt, it's all anxiety, but there is the Vaikuntha, there is the spiritual abode, and we can go there. We have to prepare ourselves, we have to train ourselves. Therefore, the Lord has come in the deity form, the Archa Vigraha. Lord Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra have come to give us all the opportunity that we can practice doing archana. We can practice worshipping the Lord in His deity form. It's a preparation for going back home, back to Godhead. We want to be very eager to engage in these kind of activities, to take up the worship of the Lord according to the different standards, the rules and regulations. Yes, there are standards to worship the deity. This is the training which we need to control the mind and senses, to fix it on the Supreme Lord. That we do these things for the pleasure of Krishna, for the pleasure of Lord Jagannath. We engage in His loving service. And this is how we become qualified to go to the spiritual world. So we have seen so many wonderful devotees, even in the short time of our Krishna consciousness movement. We've seen how people have dedicated themselves to the service of the deities. The archana process, very powerful, to control our mind and senses, to fix ourselves in Krishna's service. Chanting the holy name, of course, is also important. We cannot forget the chanting of the holy name. But everyone should also take an opportunity to engage in the worship of the deities. Prabhupada writes in the Nectar of Devotion how everyone from time to time should take turn to offer the arti, for the Lord, and sometimes also to cook for the Lord, to prepare some nice preparations for His pleasure, to make the garlands for the deity, to dress the deities, to make ornaments for the deities. In Mayapur, we have big deities, and we have a group of ladies there. They're making the jewelry for the deities. Every day they will meet together for an hour or two, and they will make different ornaments for the deities. And they bring all the ornaments, they bring them from places like China. They bring them to Mayapur to make the nice necklaces and wristlets and anklets and all different ornaments for the deity. This is how we serve the deities. We need to put ourselves in that consciousness to be the servant. Because material life, when we become comfortable, we think, I am the master. We think, I am the enjoyer. This is for my pleasure. That is not the right mentality. We have to understand we are the servant, and our position is to give pleasure to Krishna, to please Krishna, not to be so much concerned about our own pleasure, but to give pleasure to Krishna. And when we please Krishna, we will also feel pleasure. We will feel naturally transcendental bliss by engaging in Krishna's service. It is natural because Krishna's in everyone's heart. And when we engage in His service, we feel the pleasure. Just like we're coming now, the month of December has come, Christmas marathon, right? Around the world, we call it the Prabhupada marathon. And we take this opportunity to try to distribute books. It's very important for us. Although, of course, you will say, no, nobody reads books anymore. Everybody has soft copies, it's all on the internet, But actually still, you can distribute books. Book distribution, there are people out there who are willing to take books. And giving books to people is a very wonderful experience that you can feel transcendental bliss when somebody will take a book. If somebody gets a book, I was hearing Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. He was on a television show in Canada. And the man was asking him, I've seen you people on the street. You're always forcing people to give money and to take your books. But Gopal Krishna Maharaj said, no. I said, that was in the beginning. He said, in the beginning, we were beginning our movement. We used to do it. But I said, now, he said, we give out books. Anybody wants a book, we can give them the book, But still, if they can give a donation, of course, we will take it. Like that. And so the same way, Christmas marathon. Get some books. Everyone should take the responsibility to try to distribute some books. Prabhupada wrote the books, and Prabhupada wanted us, he said, this is our family business, right? We're a family, the Krishna conscious family. And we have a business. Just like maybe, if you're a Marwari or something, they have the family business. Sometimes you see in Vrindavan that children are in the shop, they do everything. Children take care of the business. So we are the children. Srila Prabhupada began the Well, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati actually began, and Srila Prabhupada continued from his own guru. So we also should continue. We need to distribute books. Actually, in England now, one devotee told me, he came from the UK, and he told me, he said, on the streets in England, they can distribute a whole set of books. They don't just distribute one book, they distribute a set. They have a set of Srimad Bhagavatams, and they get someone to take the book, take the whole set. Right on the street. They're doing things like that. You can do it. Some devotee, he came from Salem, and he went to America. They were in Atlanta, and they were doing book distribution. And then one day he distributed 1,200 and something books, big books. How did he do it? So many books. He was just standing outside a shop, distributing books, and he got people to take sets of books. So this is happening today. You know, people are not just distributing one little magazine. In the beginning, you know, when I came to the Krishna consciousness movement, we were giving out Back to Godheads. You know, we had Back to Godhead magazine. And the rule was, you know, if somebody can give money, if they give a donation, take it. If they don't have any money, it's okay, let them take it. You know? So like that. But then there was no money to print the books. And Prabhupada said, no, he said, everybody has to give, they have to pay something for the book. Otherwise, how will we print more books? If we give out the books free, then there'll be no more money to print new books. There'll be no books for preaching. So he said, you have to pay for the books. You have to get some. And then he said, book distribution means big book distribution. In the beginning, we were just distributing small books. But then Prabhupada said, no, you have to distribute big books. Oh, Krishna. And now we're saying you have to distribute sets of books. Not one book, whole boxes of books. Gopal Krishna Goswami was very expert. They would arrange, his disciples would arrange for him to go to people in India. He'd go to people who were running big companies, and he would get them to buy containers of books. They said, you should take a container, you know, and you send like, you know, whole container of Bhagavad Gitas, and then everybody in the company would get a Bhagavad Gita. So that's book distribution, you know, that's how Delhi was distributing books like that. Wildfire. So think big, you know, Prabhupada said, go hunting, don't go for the rhino, don't go hunting for rabbits. If you miss a rabbit, they'll laugh at you. So hunt the rhino. So think big. Prabhupada taught us. Prabhupada said, I cannot think small. You have to think big. You want to please Srila Prabhupada, you have to think big. Distribute sets. Distribute a container. If you can distribute one container of books, oh, we'll be very happy, right? We'll be very proud of you. So many big companies here in Singapore, so many big factories, so many workers. You should go and get these bosses, get the managers, get them buy a container of books, distribute Bhagavad Gita, everyone. They'll get the mercy. You know, that is preaching. We have to think big. So it can be done. Impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. You can do it. You just have to make the effort. Krishna will help. Krishna arranged it. You know, I went to Delhi. I was in Delhi in 1975. We had a little house, small house. Radhapatha Sarati deities were there. And we were in a little rented house in Bengali market. And today there's 18 temples in Delhi. And many centers for, what do they call them? You know, they have these student places. People are students there and they're staying there and they have a program every day like that. Bases or something they call them. So they have so many activities. It's all going on. Why? Because they did so much book distribution. They distributed books profusely, wildly. Many people got books. And they took up Krishna consciousness. Now we have big temples there, and more temples are coming up. This year they opened a big temple in Rohini. There's a subdivision in Delhi called Rohini. It's one of the biggest subdivisions in the world. So many people live there. Lakhs and lakhs of people. So they have a big temple there. And they have the temple east of Kailash. There's another big temple coming up at Dwarka, which is near to the airport there in Delhi. It's Punjabi Bagh. They bought over the neighbor's house and they're expanding the whole center at Punjabi Bagh, making a big center. They're doing huge things. Now Singapore, what are you doing? Well, we rent a little place. We have our rented place. We have to think big. We have to think big, The world is there, just waiting for us to go forward. Man proposes, God disposes. So we have to have that enthusiasm. It's great that we're here. Prabhupada couldn't even get in here. But in Prabhupada's time, they wouldn't let Prabhupada in the country, So, we've made a lot of progress. The fact that we're here at all. But, we have to keep going forward and do more and more. Okay, Hare Krishna, any questions? Anyone? Any challenges? Everybody agrees?
So good time to ask questions. We have a bit of time.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you for encouraging us. You talked about book distribution just now. So we do feel enlivened to distribute books, but we sometimes feel discouraged that they won't read it. And you mentioned the example of Delhi, that books went and then it was opened up. But sometimes we feel some discouragement. So is it something we should worry too much, or we can just go out? I know people are a little reluctant, especially when they say religion. But I'm very sure that our goodness will take it. But the other thing which holds us back is whether you'll ever read it. And just lying there, how do you see that now? How we get encouraged and still continue.
But how do we get encouraged? We have to go out there, Just like you're going to bathe in the sea, you put your hand in water. Is it cold? Is the water cold? You have to go in there. There has to be that enthusiasm in the beginning. That's very important quality. That enthusiasm to just go and try to do it. That utsahan, Rupa Goswami said, what is favorable for devotional service, and the first thing he mentions is enthusiasm. And Srila Prabhupada defines enthusiasm as endeavoring with intelligence for Krishna consciousness. So yes, we have to be cautious how we do these things. At the same time, you have to be a little enthusiastic. You have to think about how to do it, try to do it with intelligence. And, Krishna will show you the way. There are countries where it's very difficult. to do these things. But here, you know, you can do some things, you know, it's not so bad. They haven't got a real law on what's being published and what's being distributed. They don't mind, you know, they're not against religion, although they're much more inclined towards economic development. They're not anti-religion, and they're not promoting atheism. They do recognize the importance of spiritual culture, religious culture. So you have to be a little bold, a little bit enthusiastic to go out there and do these things. In the USA, you've got people like Vaisheshika Prabhu. Vaisheshika Prabhu is an American-born devotee, and he made a center in San Jose. He went to San Jose, and all the devotees are all expats, you know. They're all from India there, and they're working there in the USA. But he's got them all going for book distribution. He trained them all up, you know, and they're very enthusiastic. They go out, they go door to door, knock on and they will go husband and wife together, and sometimes they'll take the child with them even, you know, and they'll go together, knock on the door and try to meet people, give a book, invite them to the center. So, you know, they even call them weekend warriors, they're called, you know. Weekend warriors, because they only have time on the weekend. They're working all week. But the weekend, they try and go out for a little while. And Prabhupada definitely wanted it like that, and that he thought everybody in the Krishna consciousness movement, they should have some experience in introducing people to Krishna consciousness. So the best way to tell people about Krishna is by showing them the book. You let them see the book, and then you start to tell them, what is this book about? You introduce the book to them. And this way we meet people and we find people who are interested to practice Krishna consciousness, to practice spiritual life. Bhagavad Gita is a very well-known book. Many people have heard of it. And so, you know, we have this nice Bhagavad Gita. We can introduce the Bhagavad Gita. And if people already have the Bhagavad Gita, oh, I have a Bhagavad Gita. Oh, good, we have a set. Bhagavatam, right? And you show, here's the Bhagavatam. So the devotees are doing things like this. In New York, the devotees are there. They sit in the subways often in New York. This entrance to the subways there in New York. And they sell sets of books. You know, they don't just sell one book. They get people to take a whole set. And, you know, a lot of people in India, I saw the devotees in India, they do it with, you know, everything is digital. People say, I don't have money. They say, it's okay, we can take on the mobile phone. We'll take from your mobile, just send the money, you know. And oh, okay, you know, and get their phone out and they transfer immediately, digitally. You get the money for the book. Very nice. People, anyway, devotees are doing these things. In India, they're doing it. And in other countries also, it's going on. I was telling about England. They've got huge shipment of books coming for the Christmas marathon. They're planning to distribute so many books there. And of course, they're going to engage as many people as they can to distribute them. So many hands make light work. You know, just like here, there's many people here today. Quite a big crowd of people. If you were to all distribute one book or two books, would be very good. It's a significant number of books can be done. Because you're all individuals and you have your own friends, you have your own places where you're coming from, and definitely can distribute a lot of books, give people Krishna consciousness. You don't know the results. You'll be surprised how much people can be awakened to Krishna consciousness. So it takes a little bit effort in the beginning to get it going, but once you get it going, you get some taste for these things. It goes on. It's very nice. There's so much pleasure in service to Krishna. It's a dynamic experience. The pleasure is increasing more and more as you go on. As you go on serving, you get more and more pleasure from it. Vaishashika Prabhu, he's been distributing books for more than 50 years. And he's trained up so many other people. He's got so many more people now distributing books. So, it's very nice, at least at this time of the year, this December time, people are a little bit, so often you could say more generously inclined at this time of the year. And you can take advantage of that generosity, that spirit of generosity, get people to take a book. And they can even take it for someone else, give it to someone else. But this is what Krishna wants. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Nachatasman manusheshu kaschin me priya kritama. That you want to be dear to Krishna, then tell them about Krishna consciousness. Give them this knowledge of Bhakti Yoga. And Krishna said, there's no one more dear to me than that person who's trying to give Krishna to others. So we all have a duty, we have a duty to do for Krishna, and that is distributing. We don't want to keep it for ourselves. If we try to keep these things for ourselves, then it just dries up. It will just dry up, there'll be nothing left. But the more we are trying to distribute, then it will expand more and more. So please consider, please you try.
Here, Maharaj said that to sell books. It's very difficult, like the Christians. Every Sunday you can see all the girls in the bus stop everywhere. They have small books. They don't sell Bible, they only sell people free books. They invite the church. They say, please come to the church and get more books, more readings, more knowledge, and get, when to improve your English. And I was hear a girl say, if you want to speak good English, you come to a church, you can learn to speak, how to recognize people, they say. So we cannot carry our books and go around. So why don't we have small books, handbooks, where we can give donations, and then print small books. We also can invite them. I don't know whether I'm saying correctly or not.
Yes, yeah. We have many small books. We do have a lot of small books, And it's not all big books. There's also a number of small books. You like to carry small books around with you? Yes, easier to do that. Big books are difficult to carry, but small books are available. We do have small books. So, Yeah, you want some small books, they're there. We have many books, small books which the devotees published, you know. You have Beyond Birth and Death, you have Perfection of Yoga, Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. You have Coming Back, The Science of Reincarnation. All of these books are small. So the Ishopanishad is also not a very big book, small book. You can get all of these books. There's many. And you can also have sets of small books too. You can have a whole set of them if you want. Why just get one book? Get the whole set. Right? And yes, certainly people can learn English also. We have many people. I was in Europe this summer, and I was in Switzerland, and I was in Holland, and many devotees there, they told me, they said, they never spoke English until they became devotees. They were speaking French and German and Dutch, and then they came to the temple, and then they heard English, they started to learn English. And so it's common. So they can read Prabhupada's books. Some devotees say they learned English just by reading Prabhupada's books. You read Prabhupada's books, you learn very good English.
One last question.
Okay.
You have to start.
Okay.
That's okay.
Anyone has one last question?
My question is related to the devotion. You just now mentioned that to purify our heart and senses. So I would like to know more little bit about like what is the significance of offering artis and doing other act of worship for purifying heart and our senses.
Yeah, the offering of arti, that is the system of welcoming the Lord, actually. When we offer the arti, it's like the Lord is coming personally into our presence. That time we welcome Him by offering different auspicious articles, like the incense and the lamp and all these different things. This is the system of archana. We also have the regular archana in the morning, bathing the deity, and then dressing the deity, and offering garland and so on. So this is all part of understanding that the Lord is a person. The worship of the deity can help us to know the Lord is a person, and He has a form. And the form is not material, but it's a spiritual form. And by worshipping the deity, then that activity, I said, it's a training, because we will learn the importance of cleanliness. Because to worship the deity, the devotees who are engaged in the deity worship, they have to be very clean. They have to put on clean cloth, they have to bathe first of all, then put on clean cloth, and they have to be pure inside also, internally. They should be chanting the Gayatri mantra, and they should be chanting, of course, also Maha Mantra. And this way they purify their consciousness, and then they can come and worship the Lord. So cleanliness externally and internally are required. And also punctuality, regulation. There has to be some regulation. That is how we learn to control the senses, by having regulated activities. Waking up at a particular time, and coming and then cooking for the Lord. Everything we cook, we offer, and then we take the prasad. So these things are done in a regulated manner. So the regulation helps us to control the mind and senses. So this is why archana, worship of the deity, is important. So I'm upsetting the regulation today by talking too much. So we're going to have arti now. We have to stop and welcome the Lord. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki.
His Holiness Bhakti Vikna Vinash Narasimha Swami Maharaj ki.